get a little acceleration. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new Kia Carnival in the LX package. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Signer Kia here in South Salt Lake for giving me some time with the Carnival. Check out their inventory link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 276 horsepower and then 248 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 19 around town and then 26 on the highway. Now let's go over the front end of the Carnival. So first off, this one's finished in celestial blue, which I think looks so good, especially here in the sunlight. Just look at that. Perfect. Got the new Kia logo, and then coming down below, we've got the full LED lights with the LED accent light that looks super unique. And then look at the front grille of this thing. It's just craziness. You've got kind of like those projections popping down, and then you've got the honeycomb grille behind it. And then down here, you've got some more venting, and then notice you've got kind of the metallic trim in that area. But overall, I mean, for a minivan, remember, this is a minivan, it looks really, really handsome from the front end. Coming around the side here, we've got two 35mm tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear. Notice that it matches the accenting on the front end of the car in terms of the coloration on the wheels themselves. And then we do get this like plastic cladding that goes all the way down the bottom portion of the Carnival. And then notice with the mirrors, they did two-tone designs. So you've got the black on the bottom and then the celestial blue on the top. And then they did more silver there on the door handles. This right here is my favorite part though. It's very interesting. It's just kind of like this random piece here in the back, and it gives it kind of like a Range Rover type look with that portion. I mean, just to cut this in half, does that not look like the back end of a Range Rover? Just almost. But anyways, there's your full side view on the Carnival. Now let's pop into the back of the Carnival. So first off, you guys will notice that we have this seat stored down, so you guys can see that you have the flat loading floor. And yes, you can fully take out the second row, which is another neat little feature here with the Carnival. But notice this back row has some cup holders. You have a USB there on the side, and then they've got really clear instructions on how to use the seat. And obviously this shows you that there's things that you shouldn't do, which one of those things I've discovered is if you just pull this tab while the seat's like this, then what it does is it kind of folds the seat like that. So like hypothetically, you could be like in mega chill mode with the seat like that. But again, I mean, that's not how you're supposed to use it. But I mean, on the Ben Hardy channel, we always do things we're not supposed to. But anyways, that's the back. It's magnetic. Interesting. Now let's finish things up with the rest of the rear of the Carnival. So first off, you've got this gigantic light bar situation happening there, again with the new Kia logo. Then you got your Carnival badge, and then there are parking sensors in the rear. And then the exhaust tip is just hiding there at the very bottom. But other than that, that's everything for the back end. Now let's actually pop here into the Carnival itself. So notice that you've got the full leather seat here with the perforated leather just down below, and you have the interesting stitching there on either side, and then you have a bunch of adjustments there for the seat itself. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, really easy to get in. You pretty much just slide right across, tons of headroom on 5'11", and then tons of legroom as well. Notice we've got some cup holders right here and a 12 volt. And then I guess this back part is supposed to be like a baby changing station, which is pretty interesting. And it's right next to some cup holders, and this folds up to be a third seat. And then you have the other seat right there. And then we've got the third row, which I know you guys want me to pop in, so let's do that. So after magically teleporting back here, just kidding, you guys can see how I got back here. But actually, being back here, it's actually relatively comfortable. I have a good amount of legroom and then plenty of headroom. And then you guys remember there's some cup holders, USBs, all that kind of stuff back here. So the third row very easily could fit kids, and then in terms of adults, you actually could fit adults back here as well. It wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. And so yeah, it's really good. It's like a big third row. Now here's the door panel on the front of the Carnival. So notice that you've got the soft touch where you're gonna rest your arm, and then just more here on the side of the door. I really like the look of the door handle itself. All of your normal window controls, your door lock and unlock, and then your mirror adjustments as well. And then here are the seats at the front. So notice they're just as nice as the seats there in the back, and they still have that weird stitching there on the side. They are power adjustable. And then here's what the pedal layout looks like. And then notice you've got the controls for the doors right there, and then you can turn off the power doors if you don't want that. And then you've got your lane departure assistance, your stability control. The steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's one more look before we pop in. go over the steering wheel here on the Carnival. So first off, you got really soft leather here wrapped around the whole steering wheel, and then darker stitching there on the center portion. Again, you've got the new Kia logo. You've got your lane keep assist here with your pages, and then your cruise control, voice command and volume controls on the other side with the phone controls. And then notice you got the stock there for the lights and turn signal, and then windshield wiper stock on the other side, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here's the gauge cluster here on the Carnival. So again, you've got the RPMs on the left side, on the right side you've got the speed, and then you do have that screen there in the center which you can scroll through a couple different menus here. I love how it has the attention level. It's like, hey, you're not paying attention, or you are paying attention. But yeah, really nice center screen. I like the purple undertones with all of it. I think it looks good. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, you get the backup camera. Now the trajectory lines do turn with the steering wheel, which is a nice feature. As for the rest of the infotainment system, it's really easy to use. So you've got the touchscreen function on it, which response time on it's really good. And I mean, it's got a bunch of shortcuts to everything. Like I said, it's pretty intuitive. Has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You do have the quiet mode. You can control the rear climate from the front here. And yeah, overall, it's a good infotainment system. I feel like it's very nicely integrated into the dash, because notice they did the line here and then encompasses the infotainment system. So yeah, overall, I think the design's nice and it functions well. Now I love what they did with the vents here, how they just kind of made it one continuous line all across, even though this portion right here isn't even venting. So I think that's pretty neat. And then I like the trim just down below, kind of like what they have on the outside, but in a smaller fashion. We're gonna face that up so we don't get any weird wind noise in the camera. But notice you got the hazard light button right there. You've got the climate control here for the front, and again, you do have that rear climate. You can lock them out if you don't want them to control anything there on the back. And then we've got a bunch of USBs right here, and we've got the shifter for the 8-speed automatic, and it does have a manual shift function if you do want to shift the gears yourself. And then we've got a couple cup holders here, and this is like a key holder or phone holder. Like, you can put the keys here and it'll hold it, but you can also put your smartphone there and it'll hold it nicely. So it's cool they did both. Got a parking brake right here with the auto hold, and then we do have the drive mode select. With the drive modes, we'll press that. Notice you've got your Eco, Sport, Smart, and Normal. It doesn't change a whole lot when you go to the different drive modes, because most of the gauge cluster is in analog format, but it at least tells you what drive mode you are in. Got some more controls here, so like the heated seat controls. You've got this for the parking sensors and the cameras. I'm guessing these are for the air conditioned seats you get in the higher up packages. And I know at this point people are probably wondering, where's that rear climate? Right there. Pretty simple. Anyways, we've got the center console here, which opening that up, storage space is pretty good. There's even more storage in front of it. Nice leather on the top. Then opening up the glove box. I think that's pretty neat. And then I just noticed this, there's even like stitching and soft touch here on the dash, so all of it actually looks pretty nice. Up top here, we've got our light controls, which are pretty straightforward. We've got a standard mirror and then a lighter colored headliner, which kind of matches the rest of the theme of the Carnival. Now that we're done over the interior on the Carnival, let's quickly get into the pricing. So, in terms of pricing, this particular Carnival with the seat package in the LX trim level, stickers for about $35,000 before any type of market adjustment. That all being said, let's take her out and see how she drives. Talk about visibility here on the Carnival before we set off. So first off, visibility over the hood is really good. Most minivans just have good visibility out the front, and this is no different. There's your visibility through both of the mirrors, and then here's throughout the rest of the rear. So visibility all throughout the Carnival is really solid. And that all being said, let's set off. We are setting off here in the Carnival, and I actually really like the feel of this as a minivan. So first off, I do want to mention that the suspension on this, whatever they did a really good job, because it is very, very smooth. It feels like a luxury car from a suspension standpoint. It's just, you go over stuff and it's so smooth, nothing really upsets it, and it just gives you this nice, like, calm experience, which I'm sure most of the people that are looking at buying a minivan want something like that, right? Your kids are rowdy enough, so your car needs to be nice and quiet and smooth so that you can compensate for having crazy kids. But yeah, ride quality is great on it. It's really quiet, it's really well insulated. It's not a crazy windy day today, but I mean, being here in South Salt Lake, it's usually kind of like a busier area. I mean, we're right by the interstate, so it's pretty loud, and the train tracks as well. So it's a pretty loud area, and it's mitigating all of it very well, so that's not an issue whatsoever. Yeah, it soaks up everything so nice. That's probably the most impressive part that I'm finding here on the new Carnival, is just like how smooth this is. And look at over the train tracks. Yeah, that is crazy how smooth that is. Like, you don't feel it. you hear it, but you just don't feel it. They did such a good job with the Carnival. And now let's pop it over into the sport mode here, and we'll get a little acceleration. The transmission's very quick, very responsive. I want to see what it's like in the manual mode. Very responsive on upshifts. Downshifts are a little bit slower. It seems like it's just better in automatic mode. That's most cars, unless it's like a sports car, usually they just perform better in automatic mode. So I'd recommend, unless you're going to be driving down a canyon or something like that, just leave it in the automatic mode. It does great with that. And something else I want to mention here is with the steering on the minivan. So I mean, the suspension is so nice, so I've been focusing on the suspension. Didn't even talk about the steering at all. So first off, really light, but it's actually direct for a minivan. It's pretty, like a lot of minivans, they've got like super vague steering where you've put quite a bit of input for anything to happen. This is not the case. This is pretty different. It's like it actually has some level of directness to it, which again, in a minivan, you really don't see that all that often. I mean, you guys can see here, yeah, it's just, the turn-in's great. It's easy to handle, maneuver, all that kind of stuff. In terms of the power, I mean, all minivans are right around 300 horsepower, and this is about the same, so it feels about the same. I'm sure there's someone out there on YouTube that has a minivan drag race. Maybe, actually, if there's not, maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to get all the minivans and drag race them. That'd be funny. But yeah, they all feel pretty much about the same acceleration-wise, and the fuel economy on all of them is about the same too. And so really, how minivan manufacturers have to differentiate themselves is with the interior and all that. And that'll get me into setting things up here with this new Carnival. So with the exterior, I think it's really good looking. So it used to be the Pacifica was the cool kid on the block. This one now, I think, is a cool kid on the block. It just looks really good, especially from the front end. The front end is definitely the beauty angle of the Carnival. Interior on this, I mean, this is not the fully loaded one, so I'm impressed. Like, I'm excited to see the fully loaded version, how nice that interior is, because these seats feel nice, they're comfortable, they hold you in place well, but they're not restricting by any means. And the rest of this interior material-wise and everything just looks and feels really nice for, again, the price point this is at. And so it'll be interesting to see what the fully loaded one looks like, because this one already is really nice interior-wise. And then driving-wise, I mean, it's smooth. The suspension's definitely the high point from the driving perspective. Like, nothing really upsets it, puts it all over the place or anything like that. And just very comfortable. And so from like a minivan perspective, I think this just absolutely nails it, right? As a with the minivan, right, you want to have a bunch of stuff with the seats, which this has it. You can move the seats in a bunch of different configurations, and then you want something that's comfortable and quiet, and this does that as well. So from like a minivan checklist perspective, I think this checks all the boxes. So if you're looking at a new minivan, I would check out the new Carnival. Now let's kind of sum things up for our video on this 2022 Kia Carnival in the LX package. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Jerry Steiner Kia here in Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Carnival. Check out their inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.